Hi, Mr. P here, and welcome to the channel. If you're studying Cambridge IGCSE English Literature, and in particular Adichie's novel Purple Hibiscus, then this video is 100% must watch, as we look at a sample essay response to a June 2022 past question. So if you've come straight to this video, then please go back and watch the first and second part of the series so that this makes a lot more sense to you. What we're looking at here is the plan itself. So here is the key that we've used. So green, you will see a focus here on keywords in the question. In yellow, awareness of the importance of the extract within the context of the novel. In blue, techniques, the how, personal response, AO4. Explore the ways then in which Adichie vividly portrays Amaka and Kambili at this moment in the novel. Adichie vividly portrays both Amaka and Kambili at this moment. We see differences between the two characters, whilst Kambili and Jaja are allowed for the first time to visit Aunt Ifwoma and the cousins. Adichie characterizes the relationship between Kambili and Jaja as awkward and unfamiliar at this moment in the novel. Here, vividly portrays, and also this moment. What we're doing here is that we are focusing in on the key words in the question from the very beginning in our topic sentence. You should give a brief overview, list of the kind of main aspects of the extract that you're going to analyze as well. So we are going to be looking at characterization here. You can see it highlighted in blue because characterization is a technique. And you can see a bit of inference, reading between the lines. We're looking at differences, and we're going to look at them, the two characters, as being a bit awkward and unfamiliar with one another at this moment. Okay, paragraph 2 then. Adichie strongly depicts Amaka as confident, but also suspicious and somewhat jealous of Kambili. Sometimes Amaka is direct and brutally honest in her speech. I'm sure you're into American pop like other teenagers. She is also insecure about her family's circumstances. I'm sure you think Nsuka is uncivilized compared to Enugu. And I'm sure this is nothing close to the sound system in your room in Enugu. The repetition of I'm sure several times in the extract suggests that Amaka is self-conscious about her family's relative lack of wealth and that she is concerned how Kambili might view her. Both quotes also use verb phrases compared to and close to, which emphasize that Amaka is comparing herself to Kambili. Adichie also characterizes Amaka as confident through dialogue, as she is the one who speaks most in this extract. Additionally, she repeats, "You lower your voice," which demonstrates that Amaka is a perceptive character and is confident in voicing her observations of Kambili. Okay, some things to have a think about here in terms of techniques that you might take and use in your own essays, whether that's on Purple Hibiscus or whatever text that you are studying. You can see here and here are two quotes that I've used to make a particular point. I've said the repetition of I'm sure. I'm going back into the quotes here and here and noticing a feature, a technique, in this case it's repetition, and explaining what might be the effects of that, why Adichie might be using that technique. Okay, so a really important thing that's going to improve your analysis is going back into quotes and picking out a pattern, a particular word, a particular technique, and explaining how and why it's being used in relation to the question. Okay, you can see there are 1, 2 verb phrases, sort of 4 or 5 different techniques going on here. I would say 2 to 4 techniques in each paragraph, ideally. And you can also see there's some reading between the lines going on, some inferential reading. Insecure. Amaka is self-conscious. Amaka is perceptive. And of course, what we're doing here is we are going back to the key things that we said that we would cover in our plan. Let's go to the next paragraph. Adichie vividly presents Kambili as quiet and lacking in confidence, which is in contrast to Amaka at this moment in the novel. Adichie uses dots in Kambili's dialogue to convey her reluctance to talk. I we wanted to come, and I, yes. This perhaps shows that at this moment in the novel, Kambili is intimidated by Amaka. As readers, we already know that Kambili and her family have a very strict religious upbringing. It was sinful to look upon another person's nakedness, and that Papa Eugene's verbal and physical violence may be the reason why she is reluctant to speak much to others. This perhaps explains why she talks in whispers. Adichie presents this moment from Kambili's first-person perspective, which allows us to vividly understand her thoughts as Amaka is speaking to her. For example, in I wished that she would not keep looking at me as if I were a strange laboratory animal to be explained and catalogued. The simile perhaps suggests that Kambili is insecure, but is also vividly revealing about how the many questions from Amaka are making her feel. This helps us to empathize with Kambili. Well, you can see in green, we've got the focus on the keywords in the question. You can see what I've done here is I've changed vividly portrays to vividly presents. Don't worry that the wording's slightly different, that we're using synonyms. The examiner's still going to be able to see that you're focusing on the question. You've got at this moment in the novel and vividly understand. So there's this structure going on within the paragraph showing that you are focusing on the question. You've got techniques, contrast, the dots in Kambili's dialogue, first person perspective, and simile as well. So 4 techniques in there. And we've got some personal response as well. Kambili is intimidated by Amaka. This helps us to empathize with Kambili. Again, these are things that we wanted to pick out and are in our plan. Next paragraph. Adichie distinctly shows us that there are differences between Kambili and Amaka. Adichie suggests that Amaka is extroverted, whilst Kambili is introverted. This is shown when Amaka undresses and Kambili states, "I'd never seen anyone undress." Adichie shows Kambili's shy body language. I sat still on the edge of the bed, hands clasped, wanting to tell Amaka. Here, the fact that she is on the edge of the bed suggests to me that she is anxious and uncomfortable, whilst having her hands clasped might convey nervousness. She wants to speak her mind, but cannot due to her shyness. Contrastingly, Amaka is confident, articulate, and politically woke. I listen mostly to Indigenous musicians. They're culturally conscious. They have something real to say. She is aware of her Nigerian heritage and roots, like her mother, Aunt Ifwoma. Adichie shows differences between the two families through contrasting the paintings. Amaka's painting has a woman and child who are dark-skinned, whilst Papa has a copy of the white Christian virgin and child. Adichie explores this idea later in the novel with Papa's attitude to Papa Onukwu and Igbo worship. He will get very angry at the painting of Papa Onukwu that Amaka gives to Kambili, and indeed he rips it up, doesn't he? Okay, so focus here on keywords in the question. You've got a couple of techniques here, I would say, the body language and the way that's presented, contrast as well. And you've got a reasonable amount of reading between the lines of personal response. Notice here suggests to me first person is fine. After all, AO4 is asking you to give a personal response. And also you're showing here awareness of the wider novel and why this moment is kind of important within that context of the whole novel. Finally, in this extract, Adichie hints that Amaka and Kambili might become close friends later in the novel. Kambili repeats the phrase, "I wanted to tell her," which might suggest that she wants to speak much more to Amaka once she gets to know her. Additionally, Kambili is interested in the way that Amaka speaks. She said teenagers as if she were not one, and she said culturally conscious in the proud way. This may hint that Kambili looks up to Amaka as someone from whom she can learn things outside the small world she inhabits with her strict family in Nsukka. In conclusion, Adichie vividly portrays both Amaka and Kambili in this section of the novel. I think each is wary of the other due to their different upbringings. Adichie shows Kambili as timid, in contrast to Amaka's confidence. However, both have insecurities and reasons later in the novel to become close friends and allies. You've got obviously the focus on the keywords in the question. You've got the personal response here. And you've got some of the key points that we've made slightly reworded here. So Kambili is timid, that there's a contrast going on between them, that both of them actually underneath it all kind of have insecurities and reasons later in the novel to become close friends and allies. And here, what we're doing, of course, is we're placing this extract and saying why it's important within the context of a novel, and we're showing that wider knowledge and understanding of the novel. Okay, hope that's been helpful. Please do take the time to subscribe, give some feedback, really appreciate it. And if you've got any suggestions for other videos, then please pop them in the comments below. Really look forward to seeing you next time on the channel, and thank you once again for taking the time to tune in. Have a good day, everyone.